there is probably other life out there, and they probably are watching us or have come down, or maybe even being here, as in the case of so many USOs that we cases that we have found lately, from Shag Harbor down in Nova Scotia, near to where I am. I've heard other UFO cases, so possibly they're here. I don't know.
I think they've been here going back even before the Egyptians. I think they've been here pretty much since man was created, or ever how man was got here. Because you know what? If you go back even to the prehistoric men, that started drawing in the caves in that era, okay, they have pictures of some of the drawings that they drew were like guys in helmets. Like, or guys in flying in the sky on something weird. Now, going back to that time frame, why would they think of a helmet, let alone even understand what a helmet is, man is flying? They wouldn't even think about that. I can maybe see man maybe flying on a, big giant bird of some sort, but they kind of drew some of weird pictures. So it tells me that we probably have been investigated all that time now current. Oh yes,
I'm way on board with that. Oh gosh, ever since I was a child, I've been reading about this, and it's just been, to me, more evidence for that we have been visited, more evidence for that we have been guided in some sort of way. From the Egyptians building the pyramids to how the Aztecs, almost the same exact thing. You find pyramids in China, Bosnia, all over the world. They're finding pyramids, Alaska, Antarctica, they say now.
Yeah.
How can this happen without some sort of intervention to help us? Some of these things are incredible that you see have been built. And
we can't do it.
I see no other way other than someone else helping.
Well, I think they actually did more than help, because, I had another guest on just recently, and he talks about conspiracy things and UFOs and all the stuff what we're talking about right now. We got to face it, even like the pyramids that were built, right? The rock quarries roughly were about 20 miles away from where the pyramids were built. Now, regardless how many slaves you have, right? To move these big stones 20 miles, okay, through the desert, through the sand, up and down, all this stuff, I see it. It's totally impossible. It could never have happened. They would have been out of slaves almost after the first or second run of moving a big stone. I think Correct. That they had help, or maybe they, when I'm saying maybe the aliens build it with help of us as slaves and build it.
Yes.
Because we haven't been able to duplicate how the pyramids were built. I mean, guys and scientists and all these people have tried, and they came up with ideas how it was built, but none of them realistically how it could have actually been done. Right.
It's same as Stonehenge in England. It's the same difference. Their rocks are from Wales. How, in the name of God, can a primitive man bring those huge boulders from Wales all the way across to where they were in Stonehenge? That they needed help, and for some reason, I do believe that they got help from above. And this was some sort of thing, because everything's astrological with that as well. If you look, and it has something to do with the December 21st. I'm sorry, I've lost my words here. Not the equinox. I've lost my brain here. But you know what I mean, December 21st. And it has something to do with that. And then the summer and the winter. So I believe that's something. And then when you look at where the pyramids, how they are located, Orion's Belt, it kind of ties in where I think they wanted us to know, but they're trying to make us figure it out. And then as soon as we figure out all this, I bet you there'll be a meeting.
Or something.
As soon as we figure out how they've done it and what the connection is between everything.
Well, honestly, Mason, what kind of being a talk show host, interviewing a lot of people on UFOs and abductions, talking to some people who were, in various government agencies has been on my show that are retired, and a few people who I know that are real. Like I have one person I talk to quite often, or we correspond ever so often, is retired CIA. And, it's just some weird things out there that, if you believe that we're the only humans or life out there on Earth, then you're the group of people that believe the world is still flat. And I'm going to say a word that gets people mad. I don't think that every alien that has been coming to Earth, checking us out, are these friendly little warm, fuzzy grays that give off all these really nice orbs. Because again, if they abduct people, right, without their permission, implant them, okay, and then put them back to where they were. In some cases, I've heard where they didn't get put back where they were supposed to be. But then
right.
you have the cattle mutilations. You have human mutilations, which they keep out of the news like you wouldn't believe. But I've seen some pictures of human mutilations, in Brazil, in the rainforest, and a few other places. Okay, they look like the same thing with the cattle mutilations, done better than laser technology of removing, the heart, removing the tongue, removing the sex glands, all this stuff, and it's and removing the eyes again, where there's no trace of blood, no trace of any struggle or anything. It's really, really scary.
Yes, it's very bizarre. If this is some sort of experimentation, I'm a little frightened at what these beings are, if they would like to do that to us. I hate to say this, but it does sound like some experimentation where we're being experimented on without our permission, and they are looking to help themselves through us. Maybe we're the reason why they need us so they can live. I'm not sure, but that's just a thought too. But
I don't know.
With the good, with the bad, there's always the good as well. So hopefully there are some the good beings out there as well who are looking out for us.
But if they were looking,
you don't know.
But if they were looking out for us, wouldn't they have, when we were doing the testing of nuclear devices, right, and setting them off, couldn't they just stopped it from happening? Just basically, if they wanted to help us, we wouldn't have wars and killings and all the stuff that goes on a day-to-day basis on our planet. They could just say, hey, this is not going to happen anymore, guys, and stop it.
Yeah. There are cases, though, of at bases in the United States and Russia. I'm sorry, I can't give you names and dates at this moment, but there are cases where the military patrols have seen UFOs and everything shut down on the base. And in Russia, I guess the red button was pushed, and they were going to go forward, I believe when Reagan was president. Forgive me for not knowing my timetables. But I believe that was the time period, and something had intervened with the UFOs from what I can remember from reading, that had been intervened as well. But I know a couple, 3 incidences where I'm positive in saying that the military had seen UFOs and nuclear bases were shut down because of it.
Well, there's been, stories, and I use the word stories, of a Nike, base, underground base, all of a sudden, without anything of the whole system came on and started doing a countdown, just, to disperse the missiles, and then all of a sudden it stopped. It's like a warning, hey, we can control your devices.
Right. I believe that was a warning as well. Yes,
that was a big one.
I believe that they have, at any moment, they can control anything around us, military-wise or any otherwise. If they could do that, they could probably do anything else. But I believe, for the most part, they're observing us. I can't think of a better word at this point. Just observing us and just on the verge of stopping us. If something, I believe that we could have annihilated our planet several times since the 40s, and I believe it's been stopped by them after reading some of these articles that I've read. But I believe we are being watched, and I have good feelings and bad feelings about it.
Well, I have bad feelings from the standpoint the people being abducted. They're not, it'd be a big difference, right? If a gray or whatever came up to you, and said, hey, look, we just want to do a medical check on you. Would you mind stepping in our UFO? And we promise we're going to return you back to your bed. No problems. You'll be, it won't hurt. The thing is, it's been where people have been abducted against their will. Their wishes. They didn't realize they were being abducted. The next thing that they know, they have an implant, or they start remembering under regression that they were abducted, and they remember the immense pain they went through.
Oh yeah. Confusion. Their whole life is turned upside down from that point on, and that's the sad part. But, geez. You think back in the day, back in the Egyptian times or Stonehenge, it looks as though they were trying to help us move forward. And now, as we've gotten to the nuclear age, things have changed drastically. People's thinking about UFOs, people's thinking about aliens, everything has really changed for more of the evil intent. But I can see, and I certainly can see why things just, it seems more and more of the bad is showing up now, other than, they've come down, they're throwing down a white flag, they're saying, let us help you. That doesn't happen. People get abducted, people are seeing the sightings, and we really can't explain it. So,
well, that's... like one of my guests, and I brought this up numerous times here in the past year, he's a trucker. Mm-hmm. He used to do long-haul trucks at, loads at night. And he was just going into the desert. Not in the desert, but just getting ready to go into the desert. And he just, for some reason, noticed some bright light or something out of his, driver's side, cab window. So he looks. And you know what he told me he saw? He saw a cow going up towards the sky where this bright light is at. Now, he pulls over. He's looking at this cow, right, going up. He doesn't see any ropes. He doesn't see any chains. He doesn't see a helicopter. He just sees a bright light. And, why would a cow all of a sudden being, drug up to, that could have been where they, again, abducted a cow and did their little, mutilation with it and then dropped it back off. That's what the things that it scares me because, it's not done with our wishes. So, and then I look at the people that have been returned. How about all these people have gone missing that maybe been abducted and they never were returned, or they were just dumped off like you dump garbage off? Right.
Yep. Yeah. The many people that have gone missing, no one can find them. That's incredible, especially in the national park system.
Oh, that is scary. From going back 4 years ago, it was like 14,000 and some odd people went missing since 1900. Right. I mean, I can see you're going hunting, right? And maybe you fall off a cliff or you get swept down a river, but not 14,000 people. And then some of the people, the way they vanished, around other people was like gone. And in some cases, like I always bring up about this little 5-year-old boy the parents were out there camping. Their father was setting up his tent. He's keeping an eye on his son there. Was playing maybe 20 feet away, 25 feet away from him. And then he takes his eye off for maybe a minute. He